I'm in the Conway Robinson State Forest. This is a state forest in Gainesville, Virginia. Yep, my little red car is here. And it's a semicircular parking area here. Today's Saturday, so it's going to be busy. Out there is US Route 29. More parking this way. And it's a pavilion area right here. And a series of trails. I'm going to head over this way and look for the beginning of the Blue Trail. And we're going to follow this back into the forest here a ways until we get to an old Civil War era railroad grade. And then I'm going to hike that from the western end of the forest over to the eastern end. And then eventually loop my way back here. I'm not going to call out elevations because this is very, very flat. The starting elevation here is 450 feet. Okay, right there's the parking area. And here's the trailhead. I can see a blue blaze on that big tree there. So let's head into the forest this way. Whole bunch of signs here. I'll have to stop and read them and see what they say. There's a sign that says the forest is closed on Monday, November 30th for deer management. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be in here thinning the herd. Three-tenths of a mile into my hike, and this is I'm crossing over a pipeline right away. That's looking to the west, and that's looking to the east, and going to continue on back into the forest this way, heading north. .1 miles into my hike. I've been following the Blue Blaze Trail and it continues that way. There's a split here. If you go left, it's blue. If you look to the right, you don't see anything. But if you come around here, behind here, and look at that, it looks like a yellow blaze this way. So let's get on the Yellow Blaze Trail and sort of loop back around and until we hit the railroad grade. .5 miles into my hike, and this is the old Manassas Gap Railroad Grade. It doesn't look like it right now because of all the overgrowth and stuff, but that's looking back to the, that's looking to the west. The grade extends that way to the west to the edge of the forest, which is that way about 1/4 of a mile. This is the way I came from, but we're going to head this way to the east and walk the railroad grade this way. Now, the last time I walked this grade was, I guess it must have been in the late fall or winter, and all this grass was died down, and you could see the grade clearly. You can't really tell it's a grade right now, but if I get a chance to step off somewhere where it's graded up, I'll show you. Well, I haven't found a good spot to step off the railroad grade yet, but it's a fill. Down there's the natural contours of the ground. So I would say this fill is probably, well, it's at least 10 feet, maybe between 10, 12, 13 feet high. And I'm continuing on to the east. Okay, I found a spot to step down off the railroad grade relatively safely. So I'm standing down here on the natural terrain, and up there is the railroad grade. So if you're interested in the grading, best time would be to wait another couple of months and then come in here in the wintertime when all the leaves are off the trees and stuff. Well, okay, now looks like maybe we've had some horses down through here. Look at that. .9 miles into my hike. I'm still heading east along the railroad grade. It's gone, the contours of the ground are different here, and there's not much of a fill here at all. It's practically at ground level. Over here to the right, I don't know if this is going to show up or not, but the trees over there are almost exclusively pine trees, whereas the rest of this forest is hardwoods. So I'm planning to take a piece of the blue trail. It should take me through there. Let's call that the Pine Barrens of Gainesville. But for now, let's keep heading east on the railroad grade. See right over there, you can see a lot of young pine trees. Those are like maybe 8 feet tall, maybe 10 feet, and then behind them are the great big tall ones. So boy, this place has changed a lot since the last time I hiked in here. Over here to the right's the great big tall pine trees. Years ago when I hiked this whole area over here was just an open field. I think they had cut down a bunch of trees, done some forestry back in here. And it was a big wide open field. It was just starting to come back, but now look at it. .1 miles into my hike. That's where I came from. I know it doesn't look like it, but that's the old railroad grade. And you get up here to this point, and it's like a four-way intersection. That looks like they're maintaining that road heading back out towards US 29. So I may walk that. I've never been down there. It pushes further back into the forest this way, But I'm going to continue this way. This is a continuation of the old railroad grade, so I'm going to follow this over to the edge of the forest and show you what that looks like. .3 miles into my hike. I'm just about at the eastern edge of the forest here, hiking the railroad grade. And you reach this point right here. It's kind of conflicting information. It says posted no trespassing, keep out. But then down here right next to it's a sign that talks about welcome hikers to the, it's a connector from here over to the Manassas National Battlefield Park, dedicated 23rd day of May 2009, in the name of these two extraordinary Americans. They gave more to our country than we can ever repay. Annie Delp Snyder, United States Marine Corps, and Carrie Page Jones, United States Navy. So it looks like you can continue on with a connector trail, but when I get to the very edge here, I'm going to turn around and loop back. 2.3 miles into my hike, that's where I came from, and right here is the end of the line. Down there's a creek. I'll have to look up the name of it. I don't know which one it is, but there's a creek there, and this is a fairly substantial fill here, and there would have had to have been grading on the other side over there, and then a bridge put in here. I doubt that the bridge was ever put in. This railroad grading was done prior to the Civil War, and at the end of the war, a lot of the railroads, including Manassas Gap Railroad, basically went bankrupt. So there was all this grading and bridge approaches, and in some places like Bull Run and Cub Run, they even put in bridge abutments, stone bridge abutments. But I don't think any track was ever laid down. I'm gonna find my way down off this fill and down to the creek, and maybe you can get a better look at this fill here, right here. This is an approach to the bridge. Okay, I'm down here by this little creek. There isn't much water flowing in it right now, but up there, way up there's the fill that would have been the approach to the bridge span. Bridge span here, and then up there's more grading for the other side of the bridge that was never built. And then that's looking towards the east, and it's just a short distance from here across a field and then across Pageland Road, and then you're into the National Battlefield Bronner Farm area. Here's the other side of the creek. So this is my turnaround point. I'm going to start heading back where I came from. Well, okay, there's the connector trail. You have to jump across the little creek there. Jump across the creek, and there they've even mowed it for you. Connector trail heading over towards the Manassas National Battlefield. This is the bridge over here. And looking back this way is the right of way for the pipeline. .5 miles into my hike, I backtracked back to this intersection, and I'm gonna head down this way and see. This is taking me back towards Route 29, so let's go down this way. I've never hiked this before either, so let's go down here and see what this is like. 2.9 miles into my hike. That's where I came from. This is obviously an old road. And right here, maybe you can see that blue blazing on that tree and a blue blazing over here on this tree. So this is where I can get back on the blue trail. I can hear the road noise from Route 29 out here. I'm going to go ahead and follow this all the way to the end. This might take me to some old historical monuments that are out near the road. Let's see. Okay, well, I just came out of the woods. Here's US Route 29. The battlefield's down that way. And it's kind of interesting. They've mowed this area. So let's walk down here just a little ways, see if we can find these old monuments. Well, okay, here's one of the monuments. I'll get a close-up. There's the road right there. There's no pull-off. The only way you're getting back here is to hike here through the forest. But that's a pretty nice monument right there. Look at that. So see, there used to be a pull-off here. Because this is kind of a cleared little area where you could pull in and park and even turn around. And over here's another one of these monuments. Let's walk over here and see what this one says. Yeah, when they widened this to 4-lane divided highway, that was the end of the turnoff to this place. I mean, this was a little turnoff back in here where you could turn off and park your car and visit these. I only see 2 monuments back here, but you know, back in the old days when 29 was just a 2-lane road, it would have followed the contours of the ground much more closely. When VDOT comes in and decides they're putting in a 4-lane divided, you can see where they built up the road up there. They just flatten it out as much as they possibly can. And if you lose access to historical areas, that's just too bad, because that's how VDOT rolls. Okay, well, I'm safely back in the forest away from Route 29 where the crazy people are. I think the speed limit, it might be 55 out there, but that's a suggested starting speed, 55. So you know, you get big trucks and stuff doing whatever, 70, pick a number. Loud, noisy. And this road here, when VDOT made the 4-lane highway out there, you lost your access to this road too, because of the way they did the grading. So, and you also lost access to that little monument pull-off area. I'm backtracking now to the first place where I saw a blue, which is right up here. I'm gonna turn left and start working my way back towards my car along this blue trail. I think it's kind of, looking on the map, it was kind of a windy trail, but hey, what the heck. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Gainesville, 1994, and I hiked the Conway Robinson State Forest. It's about 444 acres, and it's located near Gainesville, Virginia. This is the Manassas National Battlefield, and this is US 29 heading west towards Gainesville. This is the interchange with Interstate 66 right here. Now, this is dated 1994, so there's a lot of stuff in Gainesville now that's not shown on this map. But anyway, if you come along Route 29, when you get to right here, this is the Conway Robinson Forest parking area. It's a semicircle, and you come in here. There's plenty of room to park. And the trails aren't shown on here. I'm just going to outline where I hiked, and then I'll show you their map. And maybe you can see it. It's a little dark. But anyway, you park here. And I hiked a blue trail which comes over this way along the western edge of the forest. And I hiked it up to here, which is where this line here that I highlighted is the location of the old Manassas Gap Railroad Grade that comes through the forest. Now, when I got to here, this area here is really overgrown. So originally I was going to just turn right and start hiking the grade, but I couldn't do that. Instead, I had to come up this way and basically loop around like this and come down to the grade about here. So I got on the railroad grade, and then I hiked the railroad grade all the way over to here. And maybe you can see there's a little creek that comes down through here like this. So this is an approach to a bridge that was never built, and this is the approach on the other side. So you can hike it to there. And then I turned around and came back and got on a road that's not shown on this map and came down like this to Route 29, and then I followed there's a mowed grassy area here that I followed down to right here where this X is. This is the location of those old monuments. Got pictures of those, then came back up the road, got on the blue trail, and wound my way back to my car. Now, let me show you what their map looks like. You can get this off of their webpage. So this is their map. So it's pretty dark, but here's their blue trail coming up like this. And then there's a split here. The blue goes this way. I got on the yellow. And then that looped me back around like this to here. And then this is the railroad grade all the way over to here, then back, and then here's the road coming down to Route 29, and then over here to the monuments, and then back like this, and then following the blue trail like this back to my car. So that ended up being about 4.1 miles, and this forest is very flat. The total ascent over 4 miles was 268 feet. And that was the hike for today.